Hello and welcome to the Just Interesting podcast with me, Robin, and Alex, and Martin. Welcome, everyone. Video watchers and audio listeners on whatever podcast platform of your choice that you choose to listen to us on. Today, we shall be talking about The Line.
I keep this close watch on this heart of mine.
Something that I think took the internet by storm very briefly, maybe a year ago. I can't remember now. And it's an exciting, I'm going to say, architectural project that, well, raises so many questions about logistics, humanity in general, and challenges us, I think, to examine, search into our souls and say, would we do that? Would we go there? So we're going to discuss The Line. What is it? Will it happen? Would we live there? And before that, we shall be revealing facts we've learned this week. And after that, at the end of the episode, we'll be responding to some of your comments, your lovely, lovely comments that you've sent us on through various means. We are officially on the platform formerly known as Twitter. Good luck reaching us there if you want to contact us.
Guys, I'll be honest.
It's still on screen.
So long.
Our handles are still on screen, but yeah. So anyone who watches us on YouTube knows this. But if you listen to us, feel free to contact us on Twitter at JInterestingYT, and we probably will respond at some point. But
I think my personal Twitter still has the information that I'm like the host of the podcast that shall not be named from the previous channel.
Wow.
I think it's still got the picture of us in the bunker. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
That's pretty cool.
Represent.
Yeah. I'm touched by that.
So yeah, feel free to go and visit. It's like a what's the word? It's my Twitter account is like a those things that you bury in the ground. It's a time capsule.
Time capsule. Yeah, there we go.
Got there in the end. Yes.
But before we proceed, I just want to say a very quick thank you to our lovely, lovely Patreon supporters who stayed with us through thick and thin and keep the lights on as costs go up in running a podcast. Shockingly, there are costs to that. And I'd like to say
I was looking at my stocks
thanks.
this morning, Robin.
Oh, yeah? Oh.
And,
oh my
stocks
gosh,
and JI have been down,
They've gone down.
It's all of our exports to the US is just it's collapsed overnight.
Actually, we will be probably discussing the newly announced tariffs by President Trump in our Patreon exclusive episode, A Little More Interesting, which we shall be recording after this. And it's interesting you should say that because we probably will be affected by this because there's all kinds of weird stuff is going to be tariffed. Anyway, but a special
Robin's really in favor of them. So come and find out why.
Trumper. I trust in Trump. I am a TIT. Okay, so special thanks to Amy Licious, Cindy Hafner, Rashad Najar, Caleb Wilkerson, Kurt Jones, John Baker, Janie, Henny Ruffle, Nicholas Dill, Emmett Tapia, Ahmad, Peasward, A Filthy Casual, and Simon Workman. So thank you all so much. Everyone who supports us on Patreon, you're amazing. Whether it's as little as $1 a month or as much as however much you choose to give, you are wonderful. But special thanks to those very generous supporters. And gentlemen, now we shall go on to the meat of the episode. But that meat is, for now, the entree. How are you? How are you, Martin?
The entrees, how are we? Very good. I'm well. I was trying to think back to when we last recorded. It's been a couple of weeks, hasn't it? People have been here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, let's say a fortnight.
Yeah,
I think a little bit longer than that, but
yeah. I was in New York City over the time since we last recorded, and I sent you guys a picture, but I thought I'd bring it up. I walked past the New Yorker hotel, where of course Tesla died. Which was quite interesting. I thought it was good. I thought, I wanted to go and visit, see it for myself, and I happened to go, oh, it's right there, Midtown Manhattan. So yeah, that was, I guess, probably wasn't the highlight of the trip, but it was interesting.
Yeah, it could be a highlight.
Yeah.
You're allowed to say that.
Yeah. I'll confess, Martin, when you initially messaged that, you sent a picture of the building and you said, this is where Tesla died. My immediate reaction, and this is bad, as I know, was like, what's happened to Tesla, the company? I immediately went onto the news, thinking, did Elon Musk die in this hotel? Yeah. Which is bad, it's erasing history. I figured it out not long afterwards, but yeah.
I wonder if the rooms are the same as they were back then. Obviously, they've repainted them or whatever, but I wonder if they've kind of
Changed the
preserved
sheets.
the aesthetic, or if they've been completely remodeled, and it's just like every other travel lodge or whatever you go to.
Good question. I'm not sure. I don't know. But there is apparently a plaque outside of that room where it says,
Ooh, yeah,
I was about to say Elon Musk died here. No, Nikola Tesla died
Nikola
here.
Tesla. Oh, poor Nikola Tesla to have his
yeah,
legacy usurped
I
by
know, but
Elon
imagine
Musk.
Imagine if you just booked out. I imagine people do book out that room on purpose, but imagine if you didn't know and you're like, "Oh, someone's died in here." That's a bit weird. They're kind of advertising that outside the room.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope the ghost of Nikola Tesla would have a conversation with me.
Well, yeah, you'd hope so, wouldn't you?
That's what I want.
Yeah,
If I hire that room, I will stay up all night. Like, Nicola, where are you? Come on.
The light bulbs flash 3 times so you can hear me.
Yes. Flash once for yes, and twice for no. I didn't specify the gap between the 2 flashes.
But yeah, no, I've been well.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. And what an exciting trip to go to New York City.
Yeah, it's a cool place.
As our favourite pronunciation of it goes, Alex?
How does he say it? Oh my God, I've forgotten it. In New York City. New York City.
Oh, so perfect. And how are you, Alex? How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. What's been going on? We might be moving city again.
New York City.
Still within Scotland, but we might be moving westwards over to Glasgow. So yeah, if anyone's listening in Glasgow, I might be joining you very soon. So that's exciting.
Might as well tell the truth, Alex. Everyone who's into
I'm being
nuclear
driven
weapons.
out with pitchforks.
Trident is based in Glasgow. Alex works on Trident.
Coincidence.
That's his thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns up to work with a pitchfork every day, and they say not enough teeth on that pitchfork. You need 3.
Yes. You've just got 2, Alex. Again, how many times do we have to keep having this discussion?
Every single day, you come into the office. This is what happens when people work from home. They just don't bother with the proper uniform. Oh my word!
Yeah, but it's good that the UK has put me in charge of its nuclear arsenal. So yeah. I know everyone.
Good
You're in a
choice.
safe pair of hands. Don't worry.
Very safe.
Yeah, no, all good. How about you, Robin? How are things with you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Just tired. Anybody who knows that became a dad a year ago. Baby's turning 1. Starting
That's
nursery.
crazy.
Yeah, I know. It flies by.
Yeah, that's mad.
It's a difficult time. It's nursery time, and the adjustment is it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's all for the better, but it's like, I'm exhausted.
That's fine.
Yes.
But Martin, you've been all through this, so no sympathy. I
Yeah.
imagine.
I might say it gets better soon, but you've got a few years. Years before you get your sleep back. Well, I'm not about that yet.
I was going to say, there doesn't no sign on the horizon. And when I think about it and dare to dream about the future, like, I'll get some sleep, and I think, well, at that point the baby will be talking and have opinions and walking and like completely able to move themselves. I'm like, at least right now I can semi-contain the escape artist. Semi.
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah.
Anyway, I want to know what you learned this week. So let's flip it. Alex, what did you learn this week?
Well, this week I learned that, do you know the actor Danny Trejo of the hit 2001 film Spy Kids?
Oh, yes. the ginger kid?
No.
Who's
Danny Trejo.
I don't know him then. Sorry.
He was in Anchorman.
Danny
He was Rose's
Trejo.
dad in the TV show Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, yeah, I recognise him. I've just Googled him. Yeah, Danny Trejo. Cool.
You didn't know who he was, Martin?
No, I
God.
recognise him. I'm really bad with actors,
I'll send
actors'
you.
names.
I'll send you a poster of him to hang on your wall.
Thank you.
So I learned that this week he's got a rather nice contract in his movie clause that requires a clause in his movie contracts that requires that if he plays a villainous character, then he needs to die by the end of the film. And he's put that in there deliberately because he wants children to learn that crime doesn't pay. And I think that that's just a nice gesture in today's society, you know? That's just
spoilers for any film he's in, I guess. But
Yeah.
so did he die at the end of Spy Kids?
well, he wasn't a villainous character in Spy
Oh, was he
Kids,
not?
so no,
Okay.
he didn't.
Okay.
It's also a kids' film, Martin. So
Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, yeah,
Yeah.
You've got to do it. You've got to kill me off.
It's an interesting assumption, and I don't think he's wrong. But in the kind of films he makes, they're definitely not meant for kids. So it's kind of, yeah. But yeah, kids will watch them, especially in America with the R rating. People under 17 can go and watch those kind of films. So yeah, good for him. Good for him.
also, just to tie it into the episode somewhat, he also starred in the 2009 film La Linea, or The Line.
Oh, very good.
Oof.
Very good.
There you go. There you go.
Wow, that's nice. Circles back. That's really good.
That is very good.
Well,
That's very
that
good.
was an accident as well. I found the fact, then I was Googling his films, and that just popped up. Mad, right?
Nice. Martin,
Never
what did
seen
you
that.
learn this week?
And well, I learned about a caver or a cave explorer. I'd probably call them rather than a caver. But anyway, someone that goes and explores caves. And his unfortunate demise. So he was a famous American cave explorer called Floyd Collins, or William Floyd Collins, but he's known as Floyd. And he went and did a lot of caving, as you'd expect from a caver. And he unfortunately got stuck in a cave called a cave in Mammoth Cave National Park in January of 1925. So what he was trying to do is basically go into this small passage in this particular cave called Sand Cave and work at enlarging it to basically create an entrance that you could go in and explore the rest of the cave. And he got trapped in this particular crawlway, which is an absolute nightmare. I don't know about you guys, but I can think of anything worse.
I don't understand why people do this. I can't fathom it. It turns my stomach. Just thinking about whenever you see like those caving videos, I'm like, no, I can't even watch it. It's horrible.
Yeah, no, really, really, really grim. And he was trapped 17 meters below ground as well. And so a rescue operation came to pass, and it became like a national media headline. It was like broadcast on radio and updates all the time, basically, tracking how they were getting on. And these rescuers were bringing food and water, and they were like lowering it down to him. And then on one day, the cave basically collapsed, killing him, which of course is absolutely tragic. But the reason for this, or the hypothesis of why this happened, was because it was January and a lot of the cave had like ice around it, right? Because it was an icy cave. The hypothesis is that the people that came to rescue him set up camp, and because they had lit so many warm campfires, it actually had melted the ice and had been the reason why the cave then collapsed, killing him. So those who were there to rescue him inadvertently ended up killing him after 4 days.
That is horrible.
Which is pretty grim, pretty sad, but also kind of interesting. And once it gets over 100 years old, people don't really care, do they? That's the thing. So
yeah, I guess it becomes a historical tidbit as opposed
story.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go caving.
Yeah.
I was wondering where you're going with that. Like, moral of the story: don't try to rescue people. Don't set campsite. What's going on? No, don't go caving. Yeah. I'm sure cavers would say, "Oh, statistically, it's no more dangerous than flying." It's just like, but at least you do something, you achieve something when you fly somewhere. You land in another place, and you can do stuff there.
True. Yeah. But he was known after his death as like one of the greatest cavers in like American history. Like, there were, there's a monument to him in Kentucky, in Cave City,
right,
where he died.
Cave City.
Yeah.
I'd rather not have a statue of me
I
and
know,
not have died horrifically
yeah.
in a cave. That's the thing. That's the difference between me and this guy, I think.
I know.
I don't know. There are worse ways to go. Would you rather die 95 years old, alone with no friends and family, bedridden in your own feces, or in a dramatic cave thing where you're in the national headlines?
I would take the former if I still have a DVD player with the entire Fast and Furious box set, and I can watch that at my leisure as a sad 95-year-old man.
That's fair enough.
Then I'll be fine.
That's fair enough.
Yes.
I'm going to get sidetracked now, but I've got to know: do you upgrade your box set? Because obviously there's more Fast and Furious films coming. Do you cycle through every time there's a new box set? Do you upgrade?
I'll be honest, Robin. I don't actually have a box set of them.
Oh.
The only one I've got, which I got as a gift, was Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. That's the only one I've got as a DVD. Yeah.
At least it's a standalone. So yeah, makes
true.
sense.
Yeah.
Well, it
Sorry,
works
Martin,
okay. I was done. With Fast and Furious though, it's okay because there's a finite amount. I mean, there's a lot now, but it's still pretty.
Yeah, it will end with
condensed.
11 probably.
Whereas something like if you're getting the James Bond box set, that's a waste of time, isn't it? You can't be getting a box set every time.
Although now there's an interesting
that's
cutoff
true.
point. Maybe we'll have this discussion in the Patreon episode at some point, Martin and me. But with James Bond now, there's a kind of purist cutoff point potentially.
Very true.
With the recent
We will see.
announcements.
Yeah, we will see.
So
Interesting. What about you, Robin? What did you learn?
well, actually, so funnily enough, we've kind of gone back in time unintentionally. Alex started in the 2000s with Danny Trejo. Martin's gone back to 1925 with Floyd. Sorry, what was his first surname?
It was Floyd Collins.
Floyd Collins. And then I learned this week about Alexander Graham Bell, inventor of the telephone. And in 2013, the Smithsonian identified a wax disc recording that he made of himself in 1885.
Oh.
And they did using some really clever technology. I want to say Bell Labs. No, that can't be right. Some new technology. They made a kind of digital scan of the wax disc because obviously if you try to play it now, you just destroy it because it's so fragile.
Yep.
So they scanned it and then they used that scan to construct a kind of 3D model of the disc and then kind of virtually play it and then record the sound from it. I honestly don't fully understand how they managed to do that, but they did. So do you want to hear the recording?
Yes.
Or a little...
Absolutely.
A wee sample of it. This
could be the best Rickroll of all time.
No, I know it could be, couldn't it? But it's not because just for some context, the recording is about 5 minutes long, and it's mostly him just reciting numbers.
Okay.
As a kind of experiment, I guess.
He could have
and
done
at the very
something
end
better.
of it, he says, and tell me if you can hear this.
This record has been made by Alexander Graham Bell in the presence of Dr. Christopher A. Bell on the 16th of April, 1885.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't quite make out the words, so it's very grainy.
It's very grainy. It's incredibly grainy.
Put some noise suppression on there, maybe. Boost the gain a little bit.
I decided to use new technology in the spirit of Alexander Graham Bell and apply Trixie AI to restore that audio.
Oh, okay.
So this is you. No one else has. This is like you've gone above and beyond.
I am, to my knowledge, the first person to do this. But I'm using AI, so I don't really do it. But I use some AI software, sophisticated, like freshly, brand new, kind of really clever software. But this is instructive, fellas.
Okay.
Look, what's up? Ultimate by Alexander Graham Bell in the presence of Dr. Christopher Bell and the 15th of April, 1885 at the Falta Laboratory. Where Hamid and Finland, Washington Avenue, Huffington, in Minnesota, here in my box.
We've got a ways to go, I think, on the AI front.
Why did you let me hype it up, Robert?
You did this. You pioneer. I think his tongue cut out.
I know, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Good stuff. That's good stuff.
So you
I feel like, I mean, that's a new quiz buzzer.
yeah, it might be.
I was really, really kind of hoping / half expecting it would just be the perfect, the French.
No, I'm afraid not. I'm
that's
afraid
funny.
not. I mean, you can. It's one of those rare cases where you can actually get more from the original, really noise-ridden recording
Yeah.
than you can from that.
Yeah.
Because admittedly, you're hearing it played over the microphone over the internet. But what he's actually saying, because they got a transcript, because they did figure out, is this was made by Alexander Graham Bell on the 15th of April, 1885. And then he says, in the presence of, and lists some people who are with him. And then, continues to say, thank you for listening, kind of thing. So yeah, that's the voice of Alexander Graham Bell, inventor of the telephone. And restored in 2025.
And if he could see the quality of that recording now, in 2025.
You have to wonder what he would make of it.
That's hilarious.
All right then. Well, gentlemen, are you ready and willing to discuss the line?
Dun, 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 dun. Yes.
Absolutely.
The line. The line, the line, the line, the line, the line. It goes on forever. So, we've got some interesting questions, I think, to discuss about the line, but I guess we should start with a brief overview. What is the line? Well, the line is part of, and probably the biggest part of, a project called NEOM, I think, NEOM, announced in 2017, I think, by Saudi Arabia. And the concept is the royal family want to completely transform Saudi Arabia from its current kind of image as a bad desert place that's fueled by oil to a futuristic sci-fi utopia where everything's run on cutting edge technology and they are self-sufficient and they move away from oil. So a big part of the line is that it's going to be a renewable haven. It's going to be completely powered by renewable technology. But the line itself specifically is a city, a brand new build in the desert, and it's called the line because it's going to be, as announced, a 170 kilometer long, or 105-ish miles, 500 meter tall, 200 meter wide building, right?
That's almost incomprehensible.
Yeah. Basically.
500 meters tall. So that's like, yeah.
Taller than the Empire State Building.
Whoa, of course, pretty significantly, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's going to be it's going to go underground as well a bit. Like it's going to have subterranean, or they want to introduce a maglev train in the basement or whatever. That's going to take you from one end to the other in about 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
So-
Which is insane.
But there's
170 kilometers in 20
roads.
minutes.
So the idea is there's no roads, there's no cars. It's just all kind of like very accessible through public transport.
And that's it. It'd be like a 15-minute city, the concept where you could walk to anything that you'd need to do, whether it's a park or a shopping center or an entertainment center, or official buildings where you do, I don't know, passport stuff. But they want to do it in 5 minutes. So you're 5 minutes walk from anywhere. And I think part of that is the height. Because it's 500 meters tall, their plan is you can build in every direction. So you walk down to go to the shopping center, you walk up to go to the post office and whatever else.
Sounds like paradise.
Official buildings. I mean, yeah, and there'll be garden spaces everywhere. And I think they've even got like lakes, artificial lakes for boats in the concept art, but all contained within this wall. Essentially, or between these two walls, I should say.
Glass, yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. It's going to be on the outside, looking at it from a distance. It's going to be just a mirror. The whole thing is going to be mirrored on the outside, and so it looks kind of sci-fi. And I think for me, if anybody's struggling to conceptualize what it should look like, there is art online. Go and have a look at that, obviously. But if anyone's seen the film Elysium with Matt Damon and Jodie Foster, or if anybody's seen Star Trek Beyond from 2016, there's big space town called Yorktown in space. It's that kind of weird Escher drawing kind of, or Interstellar. At the end of Interstellar, people remember that movie by Christopher Nolan. They go to some city in space, and it's all built in a circle, and it's like, it's all like that. It's very sci-fi, and it's kind of cool. I think kind of cool. So I guess as my first question, fellas, having been introduced to the concept of the line, what was your first impression? Cool or not cool?
I remember hearing about it, overhearing someone talking about it in like, when was it, late 21, maybe 2022, and just thinking like that can't be right. Like what they're talking about, right? 500 meters high, over 100 miles long, and just thinking, firstly, how is that even possible to build, even with all the, the money in the world? And I mean, you're talking about the budget. They're saying what, 500 billion? I think it would cost a lot more than that to build 100 miles of what's essentially city, but skyscraper city. Just absolutely wild. And secondly, thinking that potentially it was like a hoax. Honestly,
yeah.
That's the first thing I thought. I was like, you think about how much it costs to build a modern skyscraper, and the resources and the years that go into building that, and then thinking, okay, this is going to go on for miles, over 100 miles of what's essentially skyscraper. Of course, they don't want to call it a building, do they? They want to say it's city, but I guess shock was the first thing of the scale.
Yeah. I think, I totally agree. My first introduction to it, weirdly, was like a targeted Twitter ad. Like I got it as an ad. Like it popped up like an advert for Gnome on Twitter. And years and years ago, I can't remember what it was. And my first impression of it was, well, that's never going to happen. That looks stupid. Like what? Like that's obviously so unrealistic. It was just CGI, obviously, concept. And I was like, well, that's never going to happen. And I was shocked to find out last year they'd started building it. And I was like, that crazy thing I saw. But I mean, like even if they just build their proposal, I think, is to build 3 miles of it by 2030, which is not a huge amount compared to the 175 kilometers that they are hoping it will be in the end.
I've got some news for you, Alex.
Has it been cancelled?
It's been pushed.
It hasn't been cancelled. No, they've scaled back the target. The new 2030 target is going to be 2.4 kilometers or 1.5 miles. So they've halved their goal for construction by 2030.
A mile,
but I mean, even still, like even just one of like the height of it will be like one of the largest buildings in the world, right? So
it'd have to be,
But a mile and a half long, it would be It would be a crazy achievement
huge,
on its own.
That's true.
But I think with these kind of building projects is like, I mean, I guess we'll go into the controversy surrounding it, but you can't help but be interested in them just because it's like it's a vanity project for the head of Saudi Arabia, right? What's his name?
The one who's really tied to it is Prince.
Oh my God, what's his name?
Mohammed bin Salman.
Mohammed bin Salman, yeah. And like it's kind of like looking at North Korean architecture, where it's just so fascinating, isn't it? Like to see it, even if it's been born out of like a horrible dictatorship and totalitarian regime, you can't help but still be interested to see like.
I confess that was kind of my first reaction, actually, whilst we're covering our instant reactions to it. I also discovered it, Alex, through adverts, but on YouTube. And I just got...
Yeah, weird.
But, I always skip adverts on YouTube after the first 5 seconds. But this one just kept... It was one of those spam ones. Everything I watched just kept giving me the line advert. So eventually I watched it in full. And, at first I just thought it was a random advert for a car or something. Because the way it was all sci-fi futuristic and the voiceover, I was just like, what is this? This kind of car advert? And then by the end of it, I was like, oh, is this real? I thought it was a joke as well. And then turned out it was real when I looked it up. But my instinctive reaction after that was, oh, is this a joke? It was, as horrible as it is to be in a dictatorship, and as horrible as that dictatorship is too, as a fan of history, I do like things like the Great Wall of China, and I do like other big monuments and projects like the pyramids. And you're like, that kind of thing only happens when you have a totalitarian regime and slavery. So, at least they're making the most of it.
Oh my god! I get it. Like I, if I could choose for it to not happen, yeah, I would absolutely choose that. Yeah, but I mean, you just can't help but be morbidly fascinated by how far it's going to go.
The sheer scale of them thinking, like, because they could have made this 1 kilometer long. They can make this 500 meters long, and everyone would be like, "That is insane." 500 meters wide, 500 meters long, 500 meters high, like a giant cube, for instance. They could have done, and everyone would be like, "This is it. This is incredible." But for it to be over 100 miles long, it's just wild. Well, I would say that. I mean, we'll probably get onto it, but yeah, I think we're quite far away from this being, coming to fruition, both in terms of, I mean, the resource is one thing, but in terms of just like the conceptualization to reality, there's quite a big leap with some of the technologies that they're suggesting, but we'll probably get onto that in a bit.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, let's move on to that. Let's talk about logistics and how do we feel about it. Do we think it's going to happen? So some basic stuff. The idea is, like we said, 500 meters tall, 100 miles long, and 200 meters wide city, freshly built in the middle of the desert. The desert itself doesn't have the resources. They're not mining materials from the desert. They're going to import everything. That thing is going to take a long time to build. As Alex said, the initial intention was that by 2030, which is just 5 years away, they would have a 5-kilometer stretch of it. They've now halved that goal because it's going to take so long. I think there's some things they want to do with it, like it's all going to be AI-driven, high-tech, automated, so people don't have to drive anywhere, or they just have to walk or get onto some self-driven train or tram or whatever. And I think some of the technology they're talking about doesn't even exist yet. So there's loads of R&D going into stuff that we don't even know if they'll be able to make it. And then in terms of raw materials, they say it's all going to be a zero carbon city for the future, which is cool. I think that's a really good aim. I think it's really great. And even if they don't build the line and they'd manage to develop the vision for how to build a city that is zero carbon, amazing. Sorry, how to plan a city that's zero carbon is amazing. But they're building this thing from scratch. And there's no conceivable way in my head that in the first 1,000 years of this city functioning, it can use enough renewable energy to make up for the amount of carbon energy that's going into building it. For example, it's estimated, and this is just an estimate, and that's like best case scenario, that it will use about 20% of the world's supply of steel in order to build this thing. Wow. And a lot of that's just going on the mirrors on the outside. Mirrors are steel-backed glass. Just imagine the amount of stuff is just to build the friggin' mirrors on the outside. And then, of course, all the structures are going to be made of steel. And steel is one of the most high-carbon fossil fuel using things to make, So it's kind of a pipe dream in that sense. Say, it's all about zero carbon. It's like, yes, it's a city for the future, but by the time you've built this thing, I think you'll have killed the planet. Just in the process of building it.
So one of the other things with the whole renewable piece is that they're claiming to have zero downtime. So like for the grid essentially to not go down.
Right.
But that's
that will happen.
Yeah. It doesn't exist currently. There isn't the grid storage solutions currently for like batteries like that, or hydrogen, or, so we're not there yet.
Oh, I should mention this actually for context. A city that size is estimated to be home to 9 million people in its final form. They expect 9 million people to live there. And just the first phase, they were planning, I think, that 5-kilometer stretch was meant to be home to about 1 million people, I think. They're expecting to bring in 1 million people. But now they've reduced that estimate to about 300,000 people.
Who are these people? I think I'm just going to, there'll be enough people that think I'm going to go up sticks and go to, somewhere amazing, supposedly incredible, futuristic, right? There'll be enough people that are interested in that. I imagine it's not going to come at, it's It's kind of a cost, isn't it?
I mean, you suspect there's a certain amount of forced relocation going on, right?
Do you reckon?
Like,
mean,
well,
that-
if
there
the crown
definitely
prince
is in
says,
the
"Look, I've
building,
built this
yeah.
new city. You're all going to
Oh,
come
yeah.
live here." You know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, there has been forced relocation so far, like in the building and construction, haven't they? Like just clearing it out, they've been bulldozing through like established communities of people. I think there's a tribe that's been have to be completely moved along, and there have been reports that people have been arrested who have resisted this, and even a few reports of people being killed unjustly for refusing to move out of the way of, like, you know, security forces trying to build this project. So and that's only in the first stage of construction. Imagine this over the next 175 miles, and that
I
goes
to say
into
they broke ground
Yeah.
a year ago, maybe a year and a half. It's not been long, and they're already killing people. That's terrible.
Yeah.
and that's the people that just get in the way. You've got to imagine the worker deaths during construction of this like 500-meter long skyscraper.
They've estimated already. I mean, these are reports, right? So it's difficult to verify. But the estimate is that 21,000 workers have died during the construction
Already?
of the
What?
Meta
Awful.
project, which includes the line and also the other structures that they're creating as well. Yeah,
That's mad.
awful.
Um,
I mean, oh man, just crazy.
And then you mentioned the environmental concerns, Robin, but there's also the ecological concerns as well, of literally separating like an area of 175 miles with like a 500-meter long wall. Like that's gonna severely impact wildlife. Birds are like, that mirrored wall is literally just going to be paved with dead birds, isn't it?
yes.
Yeah, that's a vision. Although I mentioned,
But I mean, just
yeah.
like separating animals from migration routes and things like that.
Yeah, that's terrible,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Obviously, that
and weather systems
feels
as well,
weird coming
because
after the.
you're kind of creating an artificial mountain range, aren't you?
Yeah,
Just
effectively.
across the country. So that's as anyone who's done geography will know that a lot of clouds, when they reach the peaks of mountains, is usually when they break and become rain. So you're introducing, obviously it's the desert, but clouds still pass over the desert. So you might be creating some weird. I don't know if they're going to plan for that. Is the ground going to be able to support this massive building sitting on and in it when they dig the trenches and the foundations, and then when they create rain by clouds breaking on this big mirror, will the foundations be able to hold with unexpected rainfall? I don't know. I don't know if they've planned for that. Presumably they have. I mean, another thing that they haven't necessarily solved yet, architecturally speaking, is the fact that this building is so long. The Earth is curved, so it's not going to be built flat. The building's going to have to follow the curvature of the Earth. No one's ever done that before.
Or will it?
Or will it? They're going to have to break it. They're going to have to somehow build in some break points, but also keep it continuous as the plan is. So it's a problem no architect has ever faced before, because no one's ever tried to build something this long.
That is interesting. Yeah, no, I've never considered that. Weird. Yeah.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it works out for them.
It certainly is. It certainly is.
So-
I mean,
Do you guys think it's ever going to get made? When's their aim for completing it? 2045?
yes, but
That's
they're thinking it will take a fair bit longer. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Gaudi in Barcelona, it took 100 years. I mean, granted, it wasn't with 21,000 deaths in the first year, but still, yeah, it's pretty mad. I think it will get done to an extent. Whether it will the initial 111 miles or whatever it was. Actually, if all of it gets constructed, I would be surprised.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, I read 500 billion, and it looks like that's been increased to 2 trillion. That still feels like a drop in the ocean to me. how much will be required for 100 miles of building?
Yeah.
But at the same time, part of me thinks if anybody could do it, it would be the Saudis, because they have the wealth and the ruthlessness to do it, as you've mentioned already with the deaths and the slavery that almost certainly is being used for it. You feel like if anybody could do it, it would be them. So I'm kind of weirdly optimistic isn't quite the right word, but expectant that they will do it. But you're probably right, maybe not the whole thing. And then it's this weird scenario of, imagine if they managed to build half of it, 50 miles long. Because they've announced it as this massive 105-mile building, if they built half of it, you'd be thinking, oh, failed. But they still built a 50-mile building. That'd be amazing. That'd be astonishing if they did that. And that's big enough for a city. If it can still contain half the 9 million people they intended it to, that's still a massive city. And that's just do
you reckon the primary reason for this is just a kind of legacy thing for the royal family?
I think it's a bit of a vanity project. It's kind of like the pyramids in that sense. It's like a like a legacy thing. And this is the person who broke ground, who made this amazing new city of the future.
Imagine if it all went like dark and was like Gotham, like criminal underworlds like ruling the city. It's 100
I mean, let's be real. They're describing it like a utopia? This doesn't seem like a utopia to me. Like in reality, this seems like it would be like a what's that building in Dread?
Them
all stacked on top of each other.
Well,
this thing like that
leads us very nicely onto maybe the biggest question. Setting aside all the ethical and moral problems, imagine it was built without slavery, without deaths, and without terrible wastage of resources, and it was all fully functioning as they've announced it's going to be. Would you live there?
Would I live in
the line?
Would
you want to live in the line? No. Okay. Why not?
I wouldn't mind spending a few months there, just because if it was built in the UK, for example, I would spend a few months there, but I don't want to live in it sounds like a giant shopping mall from hundreds of miles. It sounds like a nightmare.
So it's 200 meters wide, right?
Yeah.
That's not that wide, is it? Like you could run that
wide. Yeah.
I mean, Usain Bolt could run that in like 20 seconds.
Exactly. Less.
That's what gets me about it. It seems strangely claustrophobic. And when you look at the concept art, it's kind of cool. There's like big walkways, multiple levels of them connecting the two big walls, and everything's built up. But it feels a lot like Total Recall from 2012. The Colin Farrell version has got that kind of big city megalopolis vibe as well. And that's all dystopian. And literally, it's 500 meters tall. At the top, it's going to be open. The sun will come in. But like you said, Martin, at the bottom, it's going to be
dark.
No sunlight. And presumably, it's going to be some kind of capitalist society where...
a caste system.
Maybe there will be the wealthier you are, the more you are close to the sun, and then obviously everyone else is going down the bottom. And there will be a criminal underclass.
Bottom,
And it just feels... And even if it worked out utopically, and there wasn't this criminal underworld problem, criminal underclass problem. Part of me thinks it just would feel so claustrophobic. It's literally just a long 100-mile line, and it's closed off. It goes from coast to coast, but if you're living in the middle of it, wouldn't it just feel like you're trapped forever in, like you say, a shopping mall? Maybe a nice shopping mall, but it would just feel so strange. And 200 meters, as you say, is not a big distance. It's like, 20 buses, which anyone who's seen a line of buses in traffic, that doesn't appeal much. You don't get very excited about going to the end of that line. But I don't know. It's just I feel even if it worked out perfectly.
You're surrounded by 9 million other people. What happens when Jack the Ripper's there? There's going to be serial killers living among you.
Can you get out as well? I feel like I can't see any plans for an airport or anything. Presumably there are doors in that big mirror outside. Like, can
You'd
you
think so.
Can you get outside? I don't know. And
Well,
if you
just
get
walk off
outside,
into the
you're in the
desert.
friggin' desert. Yeah, it's like it just feels so strange in that sense. Like living there, would I really enjoy it? And I probably wouldn't. I mean, there's some people love living in cities, but I mean, like really developed cities, like New York. Manhattan is all developed now, and lots of people
Yeah,
live in
I
those
don't think I
high.
want to. I don't think I want to live in Manhattan, to be honest.
Well, that was my point. I was going to say, like, I wouldn't want to live in that kind of place.
Yeah, but Brooklyn would be all right, but Manhattan's a
Yeah.
bit too busy. Yeah, but yes,
One thing-
no, I know what you mean. It's kind of intimidating.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't. I don't feel like you'll get much peace living in a big glass building.
But one thing that would give me peace of mind is something about that big solid walls with mirrors on the outside in the desert. I would feel pretty safe from attack from other invading armies. I mean, firstly, they've got to walk across the desert. Secondly, they've got to walk across the desert with a massive F-off mirror shining in their faces. You know,
That's got to cause some issues. That reflection, right?
or surely, yeah.
A laser
Anybody
beam
trying to
can
get
die
to the
another
city
day.
from the outside is, it's just going to melt with focused rays.
I mean, I think that's what gets me about this idea when it boils down to it. Like, there's so many examples of something exactly like this, like in dystopian works. This is like a comically evil idea. Like it's just a comically evil looking building that you would imagine in like a horrific dystopian sci-fi.
Yeah,
And someone's seen that and been like, yeah,
the
that
start of
sounds
the
good.
the start
It's
of the
like-
movie. The start of the movie is
Yeah.
definitely like the trailer for it. Live
Yeah.
here, live and prosper.
Yeah.
In peace. Bada, 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 bada. And then it's
Yeah.
like all the lights go out. Cha-chung. And
It's kind of like
miles.
it's kind of like Jeff Bezos, who famously really likes the TV show The Expanse, so much so that he bought the rights to it and kept it alive, basically kept it going.
Right, okay.
Right.
And then he announced that his grand plan with like Blue Origin and stuff eventually, like long into the future, is to get you take all the workers and put them in space. So like all the Amazon workers are going to do the work in space. So Earth is kept pristine and lovely. And it's like, you watched The Expanse as an instruction manual. That was not the message of that show.
Oh my God. I did not
And it's
know.
like, it feels like someone's done that here, you know, the same thing.
Wow.
Watched something horrific and thought, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it does, doesn't it? It definitely, it doesn't feel like they've taken the right message from any kind of literature. But it looks cool. So swings and roundabouts, right?
Yeah. Swings
True.
around.
Yeah. Very true.
You know, no matter what they do here, well, not no matter what they do, but if they get even 100th of what they're trying to do, if they make it a mile long and that's it, done, it will still be absolutely incredible. Just to, you know, taking away the cost, right, of human life and everything else. It's obviously horrific.
Yeah.
It's going to be a wonder of the world, clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. It will be an achievement. It will be.
If you could
And-
make a megalithic vanity project, what would yours be? There we go. Sorry, I didn't
Oof, goodness me.
let
That's
you think about that question.
That's a
I don't
great
have anything
question.
in mind for me, but
going to make a monolithic. Oh, goodness me.
Huh. That is a tricky one because I feel like teenage me probably would have had a bunch of ideas straight away, but now all I can see is, you know, adult me, the cost benefit ratio, being like, is that worth it? Is that worth it? I feel like something akin to the pyramids, which is just so mysterious, you know, so
I mean,
incredible and so mysterious. But I don't know if I want
make
something
the
that
pyramids, but do it upside down, so it's all resting on one
that would
one
be quite
stone.
good, yeah.
Yeah,
But we have
then
to be
maybe
something.
I'd believe that the alien stood up.
But no, I want to do something that was not, you know, particularly intrusive into whatever the environment was. So I don't know. And
First thing that came to
something
mind wasn't
something
possible,
useful.
yeah.
Something
The first thing that
useful.
came to mind for me it isn't even possible, but I just thought of Cloud City with Star Wars.
Oh, that's a great
So
choice.
that would be cool.
Yeah.
A few issues there, but yeah,
You could probably do something in orbit. I mean, it's a bit
Yeah.
further than Cloud City, but it's in orbit.
yeah.
You know, that's it. A floating city in the ocean.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. Or bring back blimps. You know, whatever happened to zeppelins? You know,
True.
the Hindenburg
yeah.
really ruined them, but
Yeah.
make like an actual floating city.
Actually,
Just don't make
yeah.
it out of hydrogen. Just
It's less megalithic, monolithic, but trams. I bring back trams everywhere. That would be my
Your legacy. I mean, there are quite a few trams, but not as many as there used to be.
No,
Yeah.
they should be. Everywhere should have them.
But they're
They're
trams in
fantastic.
Edinburgh, Alex.
yeah, there are trams here.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, trams there.
Of course there are.
They're really
Scotland's
slow.
a utopia. It's got.
I don't see the hype, to be honest, Robin. I'll be honest. They're not.
They're
The buses are
very
better.
efficient. What?
The buses are better. Yeah, they're quicker.
Wow.
They can change their routes easier.
You say they're adaptable. Hmm.
They're adaptable. Whereas like people get in the way of trams, and it's just like, oh, you know.
With a tram, you roughly know where you're going, though, right? So you're like, okay, there's a route here. Whereas the buses, if you're in a new city, you've got to track exactly where it's going to go.
It's true. That's true.
Oh, you know what? So a few weeks ago, I got back from work very, very late, and I have to travel into the big city, the scary big city, London, and I ended up missing the last train. So I ended up getting 3-hour bus ride back home, and but the final bus is only a 10-minute bus, but it runs all night and it's fine. And I know the bus stop. I've caught it many times. I went to the bus stop. Wait for half an hour. Bus hasn't come. Bus is now 5 minutes late. I'm thinking, was this bus coming? 10 minutes late. I'm like, there's no traffic. How the hell is the bus late? Suddenly the bus appears. I'm like, yes, finally, it's here. There's ahead of me, as it approaches, there's a crossroads. Bus gets to the crossroads, turns left, and
No.
goes down another route. And I'm like, no, what just happened? I'm panicking now. I'm beginning to panic. And so I think, stupid thing, I'm just like, quickly, Google, look at the next bus stop. I'm going to run to the next bus stop. So I do. I run to the next bus stop, thinking, it's got to stop there. It's got to stop there. I don't know how it's going there. Why it turned left, I don't know which route it's taking, but it's going to go to the next bus stop because it's definitely not coming back to mine. And then I missed it, and it's still going. But then I keep running, and it turns another corner. I'm like, where's it
the whole
gone?
route.
So I keep running for the next bus stop, and eventually, I kind of get exhausted, and I pause. I'm just like, I can't make it. My lungs are burning with asthma, and then I hear this noise of an engine and lights behind me, and I turn around, and there's the bus, and it's behind me, heading for the next bus stop. It turned off and then somehow came back on, but came back behind me. And then he's just plowing ahead to the next bus stop, but I'm waving frantically, and he stops and lets me on, which is very kind. But I'm just thinking, this driver must be new, right? There's no way.
going
Like,
around
what the
in
hell is
circles.
going on with this fella? How did he end up missing my bus stop, and then I overtook him somehow on a straight road? I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my bus story.
Oh,
So
yeah,
Alex,
so
I'm
you
not the
want to
biggest
trap
fan of
instead.
buses.
That's fair. I'm sorry, Robin. I didn't mean to bring anything up.
Trauma, Alex. That's what you brought back.
Yeah, I'm
Endless trauma. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Trams can't divert.
Exactly.
And
They're on
that's-
friggin' tracks.
Yeah, okay. I was seeing that as a negative, but I see now that's actually a positive. So.
It can be.
It's one man's terrorist, another man's freedom fighter, Alex. That's the situation we find
That
ourselves in.
works here. That works here. Yes.
That works, yeah.
Anyway, so final verdict on the line. I guess there are 3 questions. The first is, can they do it? Should they do it? And do you approve of it? Alex.
Can they do it? Technically, yes.
Okay.
I would say. Like, I don't think that they're going to. I mean, I think technically, yes, they can. I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay.
I think, like Martin says, I think maybe they'll get like some way through it, and then they're just like, do you know what? Let's call it a day. This is massive already. Do we really need to keep going? I think they'll do some of it, but yeah, I doubt it makes it the full way, or even close for that matter. Should they do it? Absolutely not. That's mad. And I'm sorry, what was the third question?
It was, do you approve of it? Which is kind of, I guess, the same thing as
Oh, yeah. No.
should they do it?
No. Well, no, I obviously no is the answer. I don't approve of it. But then there is that kind of weird, morbid curiosity of how I would kind of like to see the end result because it sounds insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Martin?
Yes, they can do it. How far they'll get is another question. But I think if they want to, they could do more and more of it. It just might take a few hundred years, is my guess. Should they do it? No, they shouldn't do it. But I approve of the ambition, but not the methods.
Oof, nicely done. I agree with you 100%, Martin. I'm on the same page. I think they can do it. I'm not sure they will do it. I think they shouldn't do it given the costs, but I do approve of the goals.
There we go.
Yeah. So there we are. That's our threepences worth, 1 penny each, from the Just Interesting crew on the line.
You might even say that now it's the end of the line.
What? Oh my gosh! Yeah,
Discussion.
that was good. I should have
Nice.
thought of that. Nice segue.
There you go.
And speaking of segues, comments. Fellas, do you have any comments to respond to as we begin to part ways with our lovely listeners?
So I've got a comment from Jasper Snell 432, who on our last episode said, "Do an episode on the US zombie apocalypse plan," and that is always a fun one. I don't
is a
think we've
good
done
one.
one on this podcast.
I don't think we
one
have,
on the
actually,
last- We did one on our
Yeah.
last podcast, Stories from the Bunker. But that is a fun topic. The US's actual plan for what they will do if a zombie apocalypse breaks out. And
Yeah, I
they've got
wonder if they've
different
updated
scenarios
it.
for... They've got different scenarios for the different type of zombies that are going to be as well, which is fun. I wonder if it has been updated. I would be surprised if it has been, but who knows? Maybe there are some people with some time to kill that. Just keeping that updated. Yeah. But no, thanks for the suggestion, Jasper Snell. That's definitely one that we could look into.
For sure. Well, we had so many really, really nice comments on the ghost ship sightings video in particular, or podcast, whether you're listening or viewing. So I just wanted to shout out to a couple of these. I mean, there actually were plenty, which was really, really nice. But Dale TND, my favorite podcast is back with one of my all-time favorite topics, ghost ships. So glad we could provide you with a bit of entertainment there, Dale. And then Blur 1944. Just absolutely love when you guys post. Brightens my day, as I'm sure it does for others as well. So thank you so much. And actually, I mean, if you are a listener of this, and you're not a commenter on YouTube, then you can actually go to Apple Podcasts, give us a rating there too, because I know it does apparently help get this podcast out to other people. So I haven't said that in probably a couple of years now.
I know that's bad actually that we don't do that
but if you
every single
can,
episode.
if you can and you have a couple of minutes, that would be greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for your lovely comments and any ratings that people give.
Well, those are lovely comments. That's really kind. I've got a comment from Microtech5871, and I think I actually responded to one of Microtech's comments last time in the last episode about ghost ships, which prompted the speculation that we were doing a collab with Bluey. Because I think you're in Australia, Martin.
Of course.
We're doing a collab with Bluey, and then Alex said on the podcast, "Oh, next time I'll actually just be an animated character. I won't be here." And so Microtech said, "Fun fact: Alex's character will sound like Matt Berry, and the classic catchphrase of both Alex and Matt Berry, New York City," which you debuted. Didn't debut.
That is
You said
not
at the
my
beginning of this episode.
catchphrase. Like I can't claim equal share ownership of that catchphrase.
You do a great Matt
from
Berry
Matt
impression,
Berry. Oh, thank you. You and he were buddies, weren't you?
Oh, guys,
Friggin' smart.
before we go, we did actually get a relatively recent 5-star review from Tag F. So
Wow.
maybe it's Tag Furlong. Who knows? That's a
amazing.
reference you guys won't know. He's a rugby player. All right. Tyus, but absolutely brilliant. Just interesting podcast is hands down my favorite podcast. Every episode is a perfect blend of fascinating topics, thoughtful discussions, and a great sense of humor. Well, questionable, but thank you.
Thank you.
The dynamic between the hosts is amazing. They each bring their own personality and expertise. Again, questionable, but thank you. Making every episode both entertaining and informative. Blah, 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 blah. I can't recommend it enough. If you're curious about the world and love a good laugh, this is the podcast for you. Back in 2020, this was the only podcast I listened to. Wow. There we go.
Wow.
Fantastic.
That's
Since branching
genuinely
out,
That's
mind-blowingly
really lovely,
good review.
yeah.
That's
and
incredible.
finishes with, since branching out, I always end up back here. Keep it up. So thank you so much. That's
yeah.
very kind.
Oh, thank
Shame you only
That's
gave
really
us 2
nice, yeah.
stars out of 5. No, I'm kidding.
That's a wonderful review. That is so kind. That is really nice.
Yeah, no, really kind. Thank you.
I really hope we live up to that. But if we can bring everyone a bit of joy and a bit of facts, that's all we can ask
Bit
for,
of
really.
facts.
Bit of facts.
Bit of facts.
Yeah, grammar isn't our strongest suit. But yeah, thank you, Martin. That was astounding, and thank you, Ty Furlong, for listening to us whilst you play rugby. But yeah, keep them coming. Your thoughts, all thoughts, whether positive or negative, we'd love to hear them, because we're always wanting to improve ourselves, which is why we've been hitting the gym. We've been
Can't improve on perfection, Robin.
changing our diets. Yeah, well, speak for yourself, Alex. There's always room for improvement in my household.
I was talking about you, but okay.
Oh, thank you very much.
Then
I
you're
think
right.
you're both very perfect, and if the only thing that's missing really is the third part of the beard triptych. I think you two have got such lush beards. I love them. Whereas
Well, you went through a phase, didn't you, of having a...
we don't talk about
bit
that.
more
We
of a-
don't talk about that. Yes, the evil Robin from the alternate universe.
It feels like we're in the darkest timeline again, Robin, so I think it's time to get it back.
Maybe I should crack it out. Yeah, the beard. Yeah, the. Hey. All right then. Well, thank you all for listening. Please do share your thoughts, not just about the podcast in general, but about The Line. We'd love to know what you think and whether you'd like to live there. I mean, please tell us, and whether you think it would be a great, thing to do. Yeah, chill. Hey man,
Every
let me
weekend,
know.
just walk 110 miles of a glass building.
Yeah. Just
There would be
go for
like a
stroll.
running challenge, wouldn't there? Like a marathon thing.
That's
Can
true,
you run
yeah,
the
that would be
line?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that totally would be.
No, I can't.
Nor do I want to.
Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching us, if you're watching us on YouTube. And we shall see you the next time.
See you
Bye-bye.
soon. Bye.
Later.